Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Tom Sawyer Show on HBC TV 25, brought to you by Wellington's Pub and Grill. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us. Joined again by head coach Tom Sawyer, and congratulations on the win this weekend over Sioux Falls. Now 6-0, first time since 1998. The Warrior football has been 6-0. I think that was your third year coaching here at Winona State.
Yeah, third year as a head coach. Yeah, we went on, I think it was a 17-game win streak, 97 to 98 over that time. So I remember it well. That was the first time where in my tenure that we really got it going. We were very excited at that time, and it feels the same today as it did then. Just different faces, but the feeling for our program is exactly the same.
All right, and the coaches poll came out just a couple hours ago before we started taping, and Winona State jumps up to number 13 overall. I know you don't pay any attention to that, but I'd like to throw that out there anyway for everybody watching. Beat a top 10 team, you move up 7-8 spots. It's got to be a good feeling for you.
It's a great feeling, and you know, we look at it and it's an accomplishment, you know, and it feels good for the team. They're earning this recognition. It's fun. There's not a guy on a team right now that's been in that position. So the first time we've been ranked in the top 15 for a while as well. So it feels good, you know, and our kids have earned it. And we want to celebrate it and then get back to work. But at the same time, it's great. It's a great recognition for the university and our entire program. All
right, overall, let's talk about the Sioux Falls game. Overall, your thoughts after that one?
Well, I really think that we came to play. I mean, that was the big, that was very noticeable in our team, the way that we went, we approached it, you know, the trip out. I could tell our guys were loose, they were ready, they were confident, but not overconfident and not silly. You know, I mean, we were having some fun, but it's a good blend of what we're trying to do with the team right now, and going into the game, we felt like we were the better football team, and but we had to go prove it, and I think that we did from the opening kick.
All right, let's talk about the different facets. We'll start with offense first. You talk about a good blend. Now you have Javian Roebuck going. Before it was Eric Berth, and it was kind of this, it's a little run heavy right now compared to pass, but it's kind of blending together. I know you like to go 50-50 run-pass. How do you think the offense is moving along? Well,
I think a lot of it says to what's going on up front. You know, that was the number 2 ranked run defense in the country, I believe, or somewhere like that. And, you know, to run for a couple hundred yards against them was very exciting. And, of course, Javian had a couple big runs in that game. And Eric did a nice job as well. They're both kind of carrying the load right now. The week before, they both had over 100. So it's a good 1-2 punch. Javian just hit a couple, and he's got that breakaway speed, and so it was exciting for him. I thought Darren, after the first couple series, I think he was a little bit just too juiced up, man. He was throwing the ball all over the place, and he settled in, and we got into some 3-step and get the ball to Isaiah Franson and the rest of the guys. And once we started doing that, he started, like I said, now you're starting to throw strikes, and he really had some fun after that.
All right, let's talk a little about Javian Roebuck, because this is the second, as you said, second 100-yard game this season. You talked, he was injured early on in the year, and now he's finally healthy.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks he's been 100% healthy. You know, nursing on hamstring, they take forever, and they kind of tweaked it during camp. But we planned on using, you know, really 4 running backs anyway. But he's now, you know, kind of stepped out, you know, in the last couple of weeks, and people are starting to see how good he actually is. And we knew that when we had him in here in the spring. We saw some of those flashes, and now he knows and understands what he's doing. Still makes some mistakes, just being a new guy. It's his first year here, but we'll live with that when you know that he could break one at any time. And so I think it's a good 1-2 punch with him and Eric Berth. All
right, talk about the passing game. You talked about Darren Bankin a little bit there, but you know, he's distributing the ball to a bunch of different receivers, so you can't just key in on one and stop one person. Is that kind of the focus of what you want to do?
Yeah, you know, we've been doing that for forever. The defense dictates to where we're going to throw the football and the tendencies. We're trying to break that all the time. You know, we got some guys that are coming back from injury, and you know, Elliott Cox came back and had a couple big catches in the game. Jake Blue is really playing well. You know, we went to Clausen's back in the game after he broke his hand, and of course Isaiah that we mentioned before, and then our tight ends. You know, not only Zach Olstead, but Dustin Iverson, he had a big catch in the game as well. So distributing the ball around really makes it tough to defend, and plus they got to play the whole field, and that really makes it dangerous in the passing game.
All right, let's talk defense. One of the numbers that jumped out at me, I looked back on all the different games, you haven't given up any points in the first quarter all season long. Is that key to kind of setting the table for the defense and the offense?
Well, yeah, absolutely. It sets the table for the whole day. You know, they come out and play. Our special teams are playing well, so our momentum that we chart and talk about all the time is something that's really been evident in the first quarter. We're scoring a lot of points the first quarter overall. They've scored no touchdowns. So, I mean, that is a huge way to start a football game, especially against a ranked team. And especially on the road. So you kind of take the crowd out of it, was homecoming, all that kind of stuff, and you kind of quiet that all down and just get to work, and that's something that our defense has been able to do.
Also, 3 times you've been able to take a shutout into the fourth quarter of a game this season. Just talk about this defense and how well they're playing.
Well, they're just really playing well together. Communication has gotten so much better, and of course we still got ways to go, but you know, there's a lot of guys that have to be the next guy up and play. We've had some injuries. We've overcome that. And one guy plays great one game, the next guy plays great the next game. We've had a couple different players of the week. So we got some stars there, and then we got the working guys. And the working guys are the ones we don't talk about all the time, but they're showing up, excuse me, and really, really playing exceptional.
All right. Is there anybody that you want to bring up that we don't talk about week in and week out?
Well, one of those guys I think is Michael Gomez. You know, he's under the radar, playing nose guard. He moves around a little bit, but he's really does a lot of damage in there and makes a lot of things happen. Although it might be Mike Imperiale or Luke Teague, another new guy that we'll get to meet here shortly. But Luke is one of those guys too at linebacker that transferred in. He's got 1 year left, and he's kind of the heart and soul all of a sudden of the energy on that defense. You put him and Andrew Spencer together, and we got quite a punch there as far as the energy.
You know, off the time we talk about when you go on away games, it's hard to kind of whittle down that roster because you can only bring a certain number of players, and you kind of figure, well, maybe that does a lot for the offense. Defensively, what does that do? Considering you've been on such a roll defensively the last couple of years, how do you kind of balance the chemistry to make sure that you have enough players and the right players on the road with you?
Yeah, you know what it comes down to? It comes down to special teams play because, you know, there's a lot of defensive kids that play on the special teams, quite a few offense, but more defensive kids, linebackers, defensive backs, and the way that we play, the tempo in which we have to play against, we still only look at 26 defensive players, 26 offensive players, and then, you know, our 3 specialists, and so that's kind of the number we play with, and each week you know, it's difficult. We left probably 2 or 3 receivers home or didn't play that have even started games for us in the year, so that makes it very difficult to whittle it down to 55.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about the defense and the team that you were facing in Sioux Falls. You said off camera that you found out a couple days that Max Mickey, the big running back for Sioux Falls, wasn't going to be playing. You held the Cougars to just 65 rushing yards. How key was that Mickey was not there?
Well, I think it played a role. I think it plays a role when one of your top players goes down, more for the psyche than anything. If you stop, then the kid that played a bunch in the game was the starter prior to Mickey coming. So they had 2 guys, and the other guy has 2 punt returns for touchdowns. So they have some good talent there. But when we stuffed those guys early in the game, especially that first quarter, I think we kind of zapped them a little bit about, oh my gosh, Max Mickey isn't here, because he was an All-American last year as a sophomore. So I think mentally it hurts them more and it gets us excited. We still got to go make tackles, so it doesn't really matter who's back there, but I think the psyche of their team was really down when our defense stepped up as it did.
All right, make tackles, you also make play interceptions, a couple of interceptions. Adonis Brown, Cole Moncton, and Trey Tellez each had interceptions in the game. Talk about that secondary and being able to pick off those passes.
Yeah, and one was Isaiah Hall instead of Cole, but Isaiah made a nice play. But, you know, that gives us more possessions. And, you know, we're gobbling up a lot of time. I think we're 4th in the league in time of possession right now, which is not like us normally. But we're running a huddle. We're being a little bit more methodical, and I think that gives a little bit more time for our defense to even be a little bit more rested. So our balance of what we're doing, I think, is really a good fit for us. But those extra possessions in big games, like against Sioux Falls, you got to take advantage of it. And I think most of the time we did. At the beginning of the game, we didn't. At the end of the game, that's how we put them away in the third quarter, was converting on those turnovers and turning them into touchdowns.
All right, just a couple minutes left in this segment. Talk a little bit about special teams. I saw that this week your special teams player of the week was your long snapper.
Yeah, Cole Stewart. He's a true freshman. We brought him in here just to long snap. He's an incredible kid. He doesn't say a word. We even try to tease him to get him to speak a little bit, but you know, he just does his job. And as I said after the game, when you don't notice him, you know he's doing a great job. But this week he had a couple big plays, and one he got down and the guy fumbled around. He was right there, made a big play, and he's Xing guys out, and we're like, I called him Dr. Cole, Dr. Stewie, but he's a great kid and he's having a ball. And for a true freshman, he's really doing well.
How much does the long snapper kind of set the pace for the special teams?
he doesn't set pace at all. He just, you know, Cole's a guy, he just needs to get the ball where it needs to go. And he plays his whole life upside down. So he's a little goofy, and we love him. You know, I get to work with those guys every day. But, you know, he puts it in the hands of our punter and puts it on our long snap or the holder. And when we don't notice him, that's when we like him best.
You never really think of that. Looks at the world upside down.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Let's take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we come back, we'll talk defense. Cam Gavin will be joining us right after this.
With so many new items on the menu at Wellington's Pub and Grill, you're in for some tough decisions. 6 different salads, homemade soups, huge wraps, juicy steaks, the Wells' own smokehouse ribs, and as always, the best burgers in town. See, we told you it wasn't going to be easy. Log on to wellingtonspubandgrill.com for daily lunch and evening specials. With so many choices for lunch and dinner, you can never come to this well too often.
The Big 12 is not for the weak. You face Red River shootouts and destructive cyclones, with Cowboys and Longhorns ready to take you down. Every week you fight or surrender. Win or lose, you do. Or you don't. There is no other choice.
Good luck with the family. I'm home.
Oh, hi.
Where is everyone?
They're still here. I just gave everyone the HBC Wi-Fi password.
Stream like a hero. Only HBC has the fastest in-home Wi-Fi, where multiple users can download and upload, share files, and stream audio and video simultaneously.
HBC 25 Sports covers the sports you want to see in our local communities. Whether it's college or high school sporting events, HBC TV 25 Sports has you covered. And coverage of the games isn't where it stops. We bring the coaches and players to you in exclusive one-of-a-kind shows and interviews, keeping you in the know of our sports community. Our next Extra Point games are... For our full schedule, go to hbci.com/sports. HBC TV 25 Sports, bringing you your local area sports in crystal clear HD.
Here on TV 25, we're going to talk defense now. Coach, you brought in Cam Gavin.
Yeah, Cam, welcome back.
Thank you.
I know we just had you in a couple weeks ago. Today you're subbing for Mikey, so we're going to double grill you. But first of all, you know, you had a pick in the game, and Justin and I were just talking about how well our defensive play, especially in the first quarter. How is that happening, and what kind of role do you think you're playing when we come out of the gate?
I don't know. I don't even know how it's happening. Everyone's just flying around, making plays, getting to the ball, and it's just like I'm just sitting back waiting for someone to throw the ball, and I just end up seeing someone get tackled for a loss. So it takes a lot of stress off of me.
You know, going into the game, you know, we're looking at, you know, during the breakfast and the walkthroughs and that kind of stuff, our defense is really loose. Our team is, and yep, we're still focused. How do you try to balance that within a game day structure?
I just try to have fun. I know it's like most of the guys last year, so we all just try to stay loose and then not get too nervous before the game because we play better when we're having fun.
Mm-hmm. You know, you look at that, you come out, and the defense is playing well, and Max Mickey's not there. So how did that affect you guys, as Justin asked me? How did it affect you when you know their star running back's not playing?
I mean, we were nervous because we didn't know how their second string would be. We knew he was little, and he would maybe hide behind the line. But it kind of took a edge off of us because we know it'd be a lot easier to not play Mickey because he's the top running back in the nation.
Yeah, and then you look at, you know, in the passing game, you know, so we force them to have to throw the football, and then when that happens, then you guys kind of smile a little bit, and all of a sudden you got your hands on one. Talk us through your interception.
I mean, we practiced that play a lot in practice, and I knew that the two would do an out, and then the tall receiver, they would try to loft it up, so I just baited him and then jumped it.
Okay, good.
Well, I got to ask you about that because a lot of times in the broadcast booth when we see something like that, we say, oh, you telegraphed that pass, you knew it was coming. Do you really know it's coming? I mean, how can you see a formation and say, oh, I'm ready for this one?
Yeah, like I said in practice, we've seen that formation all week. And I just knew when the two did the out, I knew the one was going to come in. So then I just waited and waited, and then I made the play.
Very good. Let's take you back a little bit. And I know that when we talked to you earlier, we talked about the decision to come to Winona State and the sacrifices that your family made. But what was the actual decision? Was it Coach Lokank who kind of steered you there?
Yeah, it was definitely Coach Lokank. He told me that all my success would be right there and have trust in the program just like he did. and I trusted him.
And how much does it help you that you have a former player at a school maybe directing kids to Winona State?
Well, it's huge because then you know that they first had a great experience, so they want to see some of their players share that bond with them as a teammates. In fact, I talked to Chris Samp today about another job opportunity with one of our players. So that connection and that mentoring all really makes a big difference. And of course, Luke being one of the best we've ever had, Cam's going to pass up all his stuff. So, and plus, this year we got Trey Tellez too, that's playing as a true freshman. So there's two that came out of one high school, and we have many recruited kids like Cam that come from former players.
All right. We also talked about your basketball days as well. What was the decision to pursue football in college? How did you choose that over any other sport?
It was just like it was hard because I love basketball. It's like my first passion because my dad played it. Okay. But football, I think it would have more opportunities for me to succeed, and because basketball doesn't offer that many scholarships at Division II or III level.
Okay.
The last thing I'm looking at is going in the rest of the way. Justin mentioned earlier that we're number 13 in the country. Now all of a sudden we're in the top 15. We have the target on our back right now going into a big game up in St. Paul. But what do we have to do to try to continue to have balance? One is to have some fun, one is to be disciplined, and one is to celebrate, where we are and what's happening to our team.
I think we just need to practice hard every day and practice. Like, we need to work hard in the weight room as well, but we also need to have fun like we did, because it's just fun when we get at the end of the game and get in the circle and celebrate.
Yeah, going into that circle, Justin, we should bring you in there sometime. This time, I got kind of surrounded, and it was a dance party, and it was really fun. It was a big game for us, and I know you played a big role in that. What is the thing that when you walk away and separate and start heading back for the bus, what do you think about most after a victory?
I'm just happy that I could contribute to the seniors, like Andrew. He's like my big brother. I just like to see him smile after a big win, and then Mikey and all of them. And the coaches, Coach Barton, he don't really smile too much, but after the games, when he's smiling, I know it's a good day.
Awesome.
All right, Cam, thank you for joining us, and good luck this week.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we come back, we'll talk offense. Isaiah Franzen will join us right after this.
Pick your channels, not your nose. With HBC's Essentials Plus, pick and choose the channel packs of your choice without getting your fingers dirty.
What's a Southern girl? It's waking up before the sun rises. It's loving the simple things in life, like the dirt roads that lead you home. It's working hard to get what you want. It's hanging your own stands, breaking your own ground, and strategizing every little move for that one moment when everything you've worked for is standing right in front of you. Even if I fail a million times, I keep pushing myself till I'm exhausted, filthy, and about to give up. And that's when the adrenaline hits.
With so many new items on the menu at Wellington's Pub and Grill, you're in for some tough decisions. 6 different salads, homemade soups, huge wraps, juicy steaks, the Wells' own smokehouse ribs, and as always, the best burgers in town. See, we told you it wasn't going to be easy. Log on to wellingtonspubandgrill.com for daily lunch and evening specials. With so many choices for lunch and dinner, you can never come to this well too often. Winona State Warrior football is on HBC TV 25, coming to you in full HD. This Saturday, at Ultra Federal Credit Union Stadium, the Warriors battle the Wildcats of Wayne State. Pregame at 1:45 with homecoming kickoff at 2 p.m. Catch all the Winona State Warrior home games in high definition on HBC TV 25. Presented to you by Russell & Associates, certified public accountants and business advisors.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show on HBC TV 25, brought to you by Wellington's Pub and Grill. Coach Sawyer brought one of your wide receivers today.
Yeah, Isaiah, thanks for being here. Isaiah Franzen, welcome aboard to the HBC studios. It's a tough crew down here. Yeah. First of all, let's get right into it. You've really broke out as our top go-to guy right now on the offense. And how does that feel now that as you got into the season, got into through camp, and now here we are 6 games later undefeated? How's that been for you?
It's just really heartwarming, I would say. It's just nice to be welcomed in by a new program right away, and then basically just being able to showcase my ability and the trust from the coaches to the players to every person, it just really, I would say, helps like reassure that like continue to work hard and good things will happen, basically. So.
You know, we talked about along the way, we talked about that transition and coming down from North Dakota State, and now you're here, and we have some connections there and some old connections back in Barron, Wisconsin. But, you know, that change and coming to a program like ours and now to see us have some of that success, how do you relate that from what you were in at North Dakota State to what you're in now?
I would just say it's just like a mindset of what you do every single day. Like, whether it be the classroom, you got to attack it. Whether it be in the training room, whether it be you can't really take a day off. You can't just, oh, okay, I don't feel like doing this today. Then that's when you get beat by a team that's not that good, or that's when you don't show up to play, basically. And it's just when you see everybody buying into the whole like win the day, win today, win whatever you're doing in it. It's really reassuring to see, and that's basically how you get success.
Okay.
Your journey here was one of the things that we talked about when we had the halftime package on you. I want to attack it maybe from a technical point of view. How difficult is it to go to different schools, learn new offenses, maybe try to forget some of what you learned before and key in on verbiage and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's too hard. I would say initially it's kind of hard, but I love the game of football, so just basically you want to invest more so you understand more, because the way someone runs it here might be different than someone runs it here. So basically just understanding what the offensive coordinator wants, what the quarterback sees, different looks, different why we do certain things, like why you stem out instead of going inside, like just little things. But overall, I would just say it's just being a fan and a student of the game and just continuing to learn and understand more and more.
For someone who loves the game of football, you had to be out for a couple of years, and then this season, game 2, I think it was against St. Cloud, you get your first touchdown here at Winona State. What was that feeling like for you?
I would say it's just like, it's kind of like looking at the pool and then finally jumping in. It kind of just feels like I don't know. You like at first you're just kind of like, I don't know how it's gonna be, and then it's like, okay, now I'm here. It's like now it's time to have fun in the pool, I guess. So now it's having fun on the football field.
You know, going back to last week and playing against one of the best defenses in the country, at least in their that ranking through 5 games. In your preparation, working with getting Darren back, we knew he was going to play full time. How did that have to sync up now that he's a lot more healthy than he was for 3 or 4 weeks?
It's nice to know that you have someone who is going to put the ball where you need to be, and now it's just time to make a play. I would say it's. I don't know, it's just the confidence in the huddle, like you can just like see a calmness. It's not like we're like out of sync or anything. It's just like, okay, like now let's run a play, let's run another play, we'll be fine. Like just gotta like keep it under control what we can control and be okay. You
know, the last one I have is, you're looking at, we've moved you around in different positions to try to get matchups and the way who we're playing that week. But this week we kind of put you out on the edge a little bit more and just said go one-on-one with those guys. What did that mean to your confidence?
I'd say it's like a pat on the back, knowing that you're putting me against whoever they think that they have the ability to stop. Like there's no one else out there, so it's just reassuring for me, my confidence that every time that the ball was in the air my way, I was coming down with it, and it just helps know that I can play with everybody and that I'm going to get the best and I want the best, I guess.
Yep, good.
All right, last question in this segment. You were talking about connections. You're from Coach Sawyer's hometown.
Yeah.
How much does that kind of help that you guys kind of have the same frame of mind coming from the same town?
I would just say it's kind of cool knowing that your head coach is from the same, like went through similar experiences, went to the Barron pool, I'm guessing, did like similar things just because it was different at the time. I'm sure you went to the Barron Bakery the same way I went to the Barron Bakery. Like
it's a good one too.
Stuff like that. It's just kind of cool to like reminisce and just talk about things that's going on. But
I'll just share at the hotel the other day. Had my high school quarterback has a son that was his teammate in Barron, and they were together. And now he's a chiropractor, and so he was adjusting him and doing some things prior to the game. So, and then I was talking to him about his experience, and so that's the fun stuff, And it doesn't have anything to do with Saturday, but it sure has a lot to do with in between. And so I'm very excited to have him here.
All right, very good. Well, thank you for joining us here
Thank
today,
you.
and good luck this week.
Appreciate it.
We're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we come back, we'll talk about next week's opponent, Concordia St. Paul. It's right after this.
In the Big Ten, you're always under attack. No matter where you look, the competition is fierce. Every inch, every yard, every game, touchdown, Buckeye, is taken by force. But you like it this way.
There it is! Touchdown! Wow!
With so many new items on the menu at Wellington's Pub and Grill, you're in for some tough decisions. 6 different salads, homemade soups, huge wraps, juicy steaks, the Wells' own smokehouse ribs, and as always, the best burgers in town. See, we told you it wasn't going to be easy. Log on to wellingtonspubandgrill.com for daily lunch and evening specials. With so many choices for lunch and dinner, you can never come to this well too often. Winona State Warrior football is on HBC TV 25, coming to you in full HD.
This Saturday at Ultra Federal Credit Union Stadium, the Warriors battle the Wildcats of Wayne State. Pregame at 1:45 with homecoming kickoff at 2 p.m.
Catch all the Winona State Warrior home games in high definition on HBC TV 25. Presented to you by Russell & Associates, certified public accountants and business advisors.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25, brought to you by Wellington's Pub and Grill. And Coach Sawyer, you were talking about the circle and the dance party that happened. Did you pick up any dance moves from any of your team?
You know, I got a couple I haven't used yet, but nobody will see them. But no, it was fun. Isaiah Hall was in the middle, and they're just celebrating themselves, their team, and the accomplishment, and it's fun. You know, there's really only reason I'm in there to share is just to say first things first. That's what we talk about. The goal of the day is to be 1-0, and that was our first and only objective. And when we accomplished that, we've been doing the same thing since I got here. And there are some of those traditions that we keep alive today, but it's a moment. You know, it's one of those moments where you can look in those kids' eyes and you can see the accomplishment, you can see the excitement. And there's not a better little world than being in that huddle.
All right, Concordia St. Paul coming up this week. I know they're 1-5. So how do you tell your team to kind of look past that record and look towards the team, and especially when you're 6-0 going against a 1-5 team?
Well, that's all we got to tell them is we're 6-0. We have big goals. It doesn't matter who we play. They have some things that they do well. Their quarterback's throwing the ball against Upper Iowa pretty well last week. So we have things that we need to work on and get better at as well. But right now, it's about practice and preparation versus celebration. We don't want to live on what we did in the past. We want to live on what we're doing now, and that's a message I keep bringing to the team. And we need to play better next week than we did last week, and the opponent is irrelevant at this point.
Does the 1-0 focus take some pressure off of trying to keep a perfect season going?
Well, absolutely. You're only as good as your last win, and right now that was last week. We learned some things. We still there's a pretty good list of things we got to get better at, and but it's a lot of the team stuff, and keep building on that, because it's going to take one play in one game to win another big one. It could be this Saturday.
All right, last minute here, plug your luncheon again. If people want more information about the Warrior football team?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Thursdays at the Riverport Inn. It's been great. We've been getting 50 or 60 people there, and do the same format as we do here. I bring a couple players that they can meet, and we share and look at highlights and do all those things. So it's very similar to the format here, but very exciting. Noon at the Riverport on Thursday.
And I understand Isaiah Franson will be there this week. So
yeah,
like what he said.
Yeah, Isaiah Franson and also Luke Teague. So 2 transfer students that have really made their mark already in our program.
All right, Coach, thank you, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for joining us here on the Tom Sawyer Show. We'll see you next week here on HBC TV 25.